Do you know how to talk to people? I mean, do you really know how to talk to people? In this video, we're going to discuss how to talk. In this video, I'm going to teach you a powerful tool that will help you improve your interaction with others. What a weird concept, how to communicate with people. We communicate every day, but are we communicating the right way? What I'm about to teach you is an extremely powerful tool that will pretty much change the way you look at people once you find out about it. So let's get into it. Maybe some of you have heard of the DISC assessment already, and maybe some of you haven't, and that's okay. Today, you're going to find out why it is so awesome and so important for you to know. I did the DISC assessment a few years ago, and I just did it again today so that I could be fresh and sure that I am accurate with what I think I am. So just to give you a little background on the DISC assessment, in the 1920s, a psychologist from Harvard, Dr. William, developed this theory that people create a self-concept based on one of four factors. The four factors are dominant, inspiring, supportive, and cautious. There are also two drives that we have. We have a motor drive and a compass drive. The motor drive has to do with how fast-paced and outgoing or reserved and slow-paced we are. And the compass drive has to do with how task-oriented or people-oriented we are. Why is it important to know what the DISC assessment is in general and what your DISC is because when you're communicating and connecting with other people, you get to read them and figure out what they are on the DISC assessment. D, I, S, or C. And then you know how to connect with them better. Let's start with D. D styles are motivated by winning. They are very driven, to the point, not much detail, fast-paced. They prioritize taking action, accepting challenges, being challenged. They're often described as being very direct, strong-willed, motivated, and outspoken. D stands for dominant. Moving on to the letter I standing for influence. I's tend to be inspiring, impressionable, interactive, involved. They're normally very vocal, animated, like to talk. They have great social skills, great charm, and energize people. Moving on to S. S stands for supportive and steady. The S people are described as stable and predictable. They like to get into a routine because they like the feeling of security and stability. They don't really like change, they don't really like variety. And finally, the C stands for cautious, careful. High Cs are normally very even-tempered. They complete a task from start to finish. They're reliable. They take great pride in doing their work accurately. And they love analysis, research, stats, testing, graphs, all of that stuff. I'm going to insert my DISC assessment results. So it says here you have a blend of both inspiring and dominant traits. Your inspiring traits are probably a little stronger than your dominant traits. Some words that describe you are friendly, quick-witted, outgoing, and driven. You are more outgoing than reserved, yes, and you probably enjoy interacting with people of all kinds in all sorts of situations. You probably like to get things done by working through others. Remember, your strongest are I and D. Another cool part about the DISC assessment is that it gives you a graph on your natural internal style and your adapted external style. What do those two mean? So you have one graph that represents how you think and feel about a situation, and then you have the other graph that represents how you act and behave about situations. I'm sure we've all experienced situations where we felt a certain way about it, but we may have acted to the public or people around us a different way. For example, if we're hurt about something, we may act like we're not. So that's a little overview about how the DISC assessment works and what you can expect when you do the assessment yourself. You'll get your primary and secondary letter that will describe you most, and then you'll get those graphs that show how you feel versus how you show up. So that's the first step, is taking the DISC assessment, which I've linked below, and learning how you are, how you interact with other people and what your preferences are. And step number 2 is being able to see with the people that you're interacting with, okay, they are definitely more of a D person. They are definitely more of a C person. I'm going to give you some examples of different people and scenarios in my life that have different DISC assessment results, obviously, and then show you how I adapt to build rapport with them. I would consider myself a person that builds rapport with people well. It does come more naturally to me, so I feel like I can talk about this confidently. My parents taught me about the DISC assessment from an early age, so I've been able to grow up aware of those concepts and pinpoint with people, okay, she's for sure a high D, I know how to talk to her. He's for sure super S and C, I know how to talk to him. Connecting with people is something that everybody wants and craves. We all want to connect, we want to feel connected and loved. So imagine if you could be the best connector possible. Imagine if you can build rapport super easily. You'd be getting more clients, you'd be having more friends, you'd be having a better time, and so would the people that you're connecting with, because you're connecting with them on their level. You're connecting with them the way they feel more comfortable, which makes them have a better experience. Obviously, you want to be yourself with your close group of friends, but still, everybody is different. So if you're able to adjust little things for each one of your friends, you'll have a better quality of relationship. Let's take me, for example. I'm a high ID. So my predominant one is I. That means I like to talk, I like to be expressive, I like to give a lot of detail when I tell a story. I feel like if I can't tell the story with the detail that I think is required, I would rather not tell it at all. I would prefer telling it like that. Can I adapt? Yes. So for example, my father, he is a high D. That means he would like fast results, right? So if I'm like, Dad, I have to tell you the story about what happened at work. So it started this morning when I woke up for work, like he's gonna be like, no, you need to like get the story out in like 5 sentences. And I get into character and I act things out and I get up and I show people what happened. But some people would rather the story in a couple sentences, like give me the punchline. Because I know that, I'm able to go into telling a story thinking in my head, what are the cliff notes of my story? Not everything is important for high Ds. So if you're able to be aware of what the person is that is in front of you and then adapt to that, then you're making everybody happy and you're having a better quality of conversation. I have a friend that's super into graphs and charts and stats and prices. So, when we were planning our trip, I told her, I called all the airlines. These are the prices for each different airline. These are the prices for each different hotel. And this is what we have. Here it is. Stats, graphs, there you go. The process of life happens smoother and quicker because you're adapting to the person in front of you. So how did she feel? She felt comfortable. She felt, I'm in my comfort zone right now. This is what makes me function best. Stats, graphs, good. Give it to me. Let me look through this and my decision's made. I presented to her everything that she would have had to look up to feel good. When I'm meeting a new client for work, I automatically, within the first couple sentences, can see their physiology and their demeanor, and I match myself to that. And then bam, I'm building rapport. If I see the person is a high I like me, I'm like, yes. I'm like, oh my God, hi, so nice to see you. So nice to meet you finally. I've heard so much about you, blah, 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 blah. So I'm so excited about your event. I can't wait to show you what I have in mind. And everything's vibing and everything's good. That would be an ideal situation for me. But if I see the person is like, hi, yes, so I'm really like unsure about this event. I've never done something like this. Like it's out of my comfort zone. I'm like, boom. S. Needs stability, needs security, doesn't like to get out of their routine. I need to make them feel comfortable. So I bring my energy down a little bit. Okay, yes, I understand. And build rapport based on what I know about S's. They like their routine, they like their stability, they don't like variety, so this could be a bit scary for that person. So what do I need to tell them to make them feel like they are understood, they are safe, and everything is fine? So there's an example of each letter and how I adapt to it and how I recognize it. It takes some practice, but now that you're aware of the DISC, I'm sure the next time you're hanging out with someone, it's gonna unconsciously be something that you're talking about to yourself in your head. Like, oh wow, okay, that person is definitely high energy, high I. Sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge, but the more you practice, the better you'll get. And my brother's also a high D, so when I talk to him, I know that I have to say this story fast too. There was this one time, this is a funny story, that my brother and my dad went to see a movie and I and my sister and my stepmom went to see a movie. When we got home, we all were like, oh, how was the movie? My dad's like, how was the movie? And I was like, oh my God, it was so good. So at the beginning, this and that, and they didn't want to see it. So I was able to tell the story, and I'm like telling it detailed. I'm like saying my favorite parts. I'm like being me in a high eye. And then my brother, I'm like, so how was your movie? And my brother literally said, died. That was his explanation of how the movie was. She died. That's it. That is the most clear example of a high D versus high I. We bursted out laughing. That's like the inside joke of the family. Every time we ask him something and he says a one-line response about a big situation, we're like, died. Like, we just say that, and we burst out laughing because it's just so funny, the different types of people and how we express ourselves. I hope this video was informative and you learned something new and you're able to better your connections and relationships and communication with people around you. The more you're aware, the better your life will be. Okay? Like I said, I linked the DISC assessment below. Do your DISC, you will not regret it. You will not regret learning about yourself and information that can help you perform better in life. Let me know after you do the assessment in the comments which one you are, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.